we are here with James Krieger, and he's just finished his presentation on the science of size. Probably exceeded what many of them would have thought.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so if you look at all the available research so far, the data shows pretty strongly, and more data is going to be coming out on this, that volume is a driver of hypertrophy. And the more that you do, the more hypertrophy you get. All the way up even to weekly set volumes higher than a lot of people would expect. I mean, we're talking 30, 40 weekly set volumes. Will actually even give you better results than 20 weekly set volumes. It's pretty phenomenal, and in fact, you'll probably, when you double your number of sets, you'll get about 50% more hypertrophy, for every time you double your sets. So, yeah, it's a pretty strong relationship.
Yeah, the correlation is definitely there. And I guess one of the other things that's not a lot of difference between training muscle group once a week versus multiple times, upwards of 4 to 6 times a week.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that and I guess some of the practical considerations in terms of which side of the frequency spectrum you sit?
Yeah, so if you equate weekly volume, so whether it's 2 sets or 5 sets twice a week, or 10 sets once a week, or 3 sets 3 times a week, that's close to 10. Overall, the research shows at least over 8 to 12 week periods, there's very little, if any, difference in hypertrophy as long as you equate for the volume.
Yep.
Now, that said, you had just mentioned, what that indicates, though, is that there's not an ideal frequency. Rather, you have to look at your weekly volume and just really look at it for yourself. How can I split up my weekly volume where I feel like I get the best quality work done, really, is how you can do it. And it also gives you a lot of flexibility. If you're a person who really likes bro splits and you feel like you can train the best with bro splits, then do a bro split. I mean,
yeah, definitely giving rise to more flexibility.
Yeah.
In terms of how volume is distributed.
Yeah.
I guess, do you want to explain, what your take is on muscle damage?
Yeah. So there's a big question mark around muscle damage. Some people have speculated that it plays a causal role in muscle growth, but there's also emerging data suggesting that maybe it doesn't. It's not really clear. My personal opinion is, I would say the weight of the evidence probably leans towards, if it does play a role in growth, it's probably fairly minor. But we can't totally rule it out. And so in my opinion, whether it's causal or not, I don't think people need to be chasing muscle damage or chasing soreness or anything like that. Don't use soreness as an indicator that you had a good workout.
Very poor props. What's the deal with higher reps and rest pause?
Yeah, so of the data that is available suggests that if you do rest pause training, you're basically using fatigue to your advantage to increase muscle fiber recruitment and get more, like, as you said, effective reps. And I mean, you're not going to get more hypertrophy with a rest pause training, but what it will allow you to do is sometimes get more effective volume in a smaller period of time. It's more time efficient. And it's also useful if you're a person who's dealing with injury or something like that, where you need to limit your total repetitions on a certain joint, but still get some effective training in. Things like rest pause can be really useful for that.
I guess